Hey, welcome back. She is still Ash Ortega.
And she is still Michelle Santo.
And you are still listening to The Spookiness of It All. Spooky, spooky. Hey guys, we are back. Believe it or not, we decided that we were going to throw another episode. We're going to record another episode today anyway. Now, whether we release it today or we release it, in a little bit future stuff, we're not quite sure yet, but we are back. Say hi, Ash.
What up?
Ash is actually driving to work.
I am. Well, okay, listen. We do this with our phones, so I am hands-free. Michelle can verify. I am hands-free.
Yes, we are.
I'm honestly, I'm pulling around the corner to my job, and I'm like, I don't want to go in that fucking place right now. So I have 1 hour, and why not? Because a pod usually is about an hour. So I figured we could get a head start on the spooky story that I mentioned in an earlier pod about the home I lived in. It was a Victorian, dated back, early 1900s. I believe it was originally a Sears home back in the day, but it is in a place called Moody, Texas. It is on the Haunted Moody website in my story. There is an actual website called Haunted Texas, and Moody is in there.
Oh, wow,
and,
I did not know that.
My house,
I did not know that.
Yes, there totally is. And my house, my previous house, is on there with my story and several others. Fun fact, one of my best friends, childhood friends, grew up in that house as well. Nobody tends to live in that house for more than 6 months. We never really knew why until we moved in.
Right.
And the house itself is beautiful. And we'll backdate a little because, you like your research. If this guy doesn't get off my ass, I'm going to brake check him. Anyway, we do our research.
I'm so guilty of brake checking.
I just broke checked him. But no, the house itself, it even has its own little old school dump ground. So we used to go and dig behind there, and we would find all kinds of old glass bottles, all kinds of really cool stuff. It's a pretty cool little place, but I can't give an exact location because who owns it is actually a lawyer.
Oh wow!
And I'm not about to piss up that tree. But I will say that the place was extremely hot, and it was beautiful. Though it had 4 or 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It was upstairs, downstairs. We had a wraparound staircase, but it was square wrap. It was a square wraparound staircase. It was beautiful. Everything was cherry red. The carpets were pretty old. They wouldn't let us replace it. Those bright red carpets. The walls were all pink, cherry wood frame on everything, all hardwood doors. It even had a solarium on the second floor, which was an all glass solarium.
Oh wow!
And it was beautiful. And whenever my mom's friend had moved out, my mom was like, "Fuck yeah, let's rent this bitch." And me and her were both going through divorces at the time. She was newly married, or about to be married to my previous stepdad who passed away. So they were dating at that time. And we moved in there, and in our previous podcast, when you just walk into a place and you know some spooky shit's going on, you just know. If you know, icky.
Yeah, icky.
And I knew the moment I walked in there that this was a mistake. And the first night I was there, we all had mattresses on the floor. We had just moved everything in, hadn't set anything up.
Felt that. Been there.
And exactly. The bedroom that I had shared with my newborn daughter at the time, this is how old it, way back when it was. She was a newborn baby. She is 18 now. And I remember laying in bed with her, trying to get her to, go to sleep and stuff. And our bedroom had 2 closets, one across the room and the other across the other side of the room. The closets were huge walk-in closets that honestly could fit a twin-size mattress. because I kept a twin-size mattress in my closet for my best friend that would come by and sleep and hang over, or stay over. Well, we would get hung over too. But,
well, yeah.
So it was pretty big, and I remember laying in bed with her and the door opening by itself and me hearing knocking. And this would happen from then on every single night for the entire year that we were there. Over time, I would be, cleaning in the kitchen, and I would walk through the kitchen and everything would be normal. I had just cleaned the kitchen. I would go and grab a load of laundry, put it in the laundry room, turn around, and all the cabinets in the kitchen would be open.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And even the freaking broom closet would be open. And then
I got a great story about a broom closet, but it's not for this pod.
What? But then, other little things would happen where, like, we would hear running up the stairs. And I won't say my friend's name, but he was a childhood friend of mine, so we'll call him Steve.
Steve's a good name.
And Steve was one of my best friends. No, we never dated. No homo. He was just one of my best friends. Like, we weren't into each other like that. But we hung out all the time. He was my Call of Duty Counter-Strike buddy. Like, we hung out constantly. He was just my friend.
I hate to interrupt, but I have to tell you, you absolutely look beautiful today. You are glowing.
Thank you. It's the new makeup from ColourPop. ColourPop, babe. ColourPop. Oh, and I've been using my Regenerate. I've been using it. So
Yes,
the last
good.
days. It's
Anyway,
helping.
I apologize. Go ahead.
You're good, babe. Well, one day,
As she drinks
came down
Bush's
tonight.
tea in front of me, knowing I'm not home in Texas to have Bush's
I
tea.
need my bushes. I need my bushes in my life. But he has Travis. Oh, well, fuck it. I'm not going to call him Steve. Well, I'm not giving his last name, so it doesn't fucking matter. Travis was over at my house, and we were staying the night, and we were playing video games, like, all night. And I think this time we were playing, like, Halo. And, because it's old school Xbox shit, and
Yeah.
we were kicking it. We went outside to smoke a cigarette, and the baby had already gone to sleep in my mom's room. So, because we were just having game night, and my mom was like, "Yeah, take a day," because like I was a stay-at-home mom, I needed a break. And anyway, he ran up the stairs really fast. I'm like, "Why are you running up the stairs really fast?" And he was like, "Something chases me when I go up the stairs." And I'm like, "Oh, you pussy. Like, quit being a wiener." Like, I would dog his ass so hard. Well, as the night progressed, what?
I have to yell at my dog. Gunner James, get out of that tree. Sorry.
You okay? And so, his middle name is James. That's adorable. He went his full fucking, his registered name.
Yeah, well, the other one's Ruger Dwayne, so shut up.
I love it. So, I'm dogging this dude. I'm making fun of him for days.
Somebody is in
Right.
trouble, so look what he did.
Aww. And as the night progresses, through that night, it's just every time he'd go up the stairs, he'd run. Well, a few nights go by, and, well, it's about a week, and he comes by that very next Friday. He usually stays, his mom would drop him off on Friday, and then she would pick him up on Sunday. And so, because like we were still kids, like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And so he come by the next Friday, and we had gone downstairs, had a cigarette, and we started going upstairs. And I went upstairs before him, and I felt something behind me. And I ran upstairs, and I looked, and Travis is not behind me. And I looked down at him, and he looks at me, and I'm like, "Go!" And he starts bolting up the stairs. When he ran up the stairs, you could hear him run. He's a big ass Viking, okay, big fucking Viking dude. He was like 6'4" whenever he was still a kid.
Yeah.
And you can hear him, and he had trip pants on, so he jingled. But after he stopped running up the stairs and hit the landing of the second floor, we could hear running, like footsteps, skinny footsteps, running up the stairs behind him. At that point, we ran in my bedroom and we just fucking hid and watched movies because we were like, hell no, this is scary.
Right.
And his mom done dropped him off, so she wasn't driving back out there to pick him up. So we were just stuck, being haunted. And so it got to the point where in the middle of the night, I would see a shadow walk through the room, or I'd hear knocking on the walls, to the point where Travis got out of the closet, because he normally slept in the closet, and slept at the foot of my bed because we were both terrified of the knocking all night long. We had an exterminator come and look, and a plumber come and look. They're like, there's nothing wrong with your house. There's no animals. There's no critters. Your house is good. So we didn't know what the hell was going on.
You called the wrong exterminator.
Right? Should have called Zach Baggins, bitch ass. And what ended up happening was, about a month goes by, and it's around Christmas time at this point, and I had been telling my stepdad, like, hey, it's haunted. It's haunted, and I'm scared to be here. It's haunted. He's like, oh, I don't believe in that woo-woo witchy bullshit. Oh, you're a pussy. Man. He's a Vietnam vet. He's like, the pussy. You know, and that was just his word for everything. Ash, you're a puss. Quit being a pussy. And I'm like, fine, I love you too. And I would just suck it up. But one day, my mom and I were telling him, this place is fucking haunted. She was telling him about some creepy shit that had happened to her with the staircase. And right then, he starts making fun of us. Y'all are fucking pussies. Quit being pussy. As he did. And my mom had intricately wrapped this garland. That was a Pier 1 import Christmas garland, and it's one of them heavy rope ones with like hundreds of pine cones on it.
Right,
pine needles.
Your mom is bougie.
She's bougie. Like, don't get me wrong, she broke as fuck. She Goodwill bougie, but at the time she was bougie. And like she had enough money for that shit. And for Christmas decorating, she would go all out. And this thing was intertwined on top of our flat screen entertainment center. And it was one of those old school flat screens, the big domey ones, right before we had flat screens.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those entertainment centers for preeps. And there were pictures all on top. You've been to my house.
Yeah.
Or my mom's old house. So there's pictures all over the top and little tchotchkes. My mom would wrap this garland all around these things and plug in the lights, and it would be beautiful. And long story short, that fucking thing airlifted. Airlifted in front of the three of us. And he couldn't deny it. It airlifted in front of the three of us, above the picture frames and shit, shot across the fucking room and landed in his lap. And at that point, my mom's like, you see? And I'm like, pussy. And then we all got up and ran outside. Like, did it? Now, a couple of days go by, and
love it.
We were out Christmas shopping and stuff, and we come back in, and it's a 20-30 minute trek into town to the nearest Walmart. And we were driving into town to get food and stuff, and it was already late. It was getting dark. It was wintertime. So we come back, and we pull up in the driveway, and we're real weird about the solarium because it is an all-glass room on top of the house.
Oh, that's wild.
And my mom had like a sewing machine in there and a bunch of plants.
Oh, wow.
That's all she did. Is she would like attempt to sew in there and stuff, and it was a nice little room, but we never left the lights on in there because the elements, and because it is an entirely floor-to-ceiling glass room. Yeah. And so we didn't leave anything on for fear that shit would catch on fire.
Right.
Hold on.
And we got a nice little jingle going on because Ash has a phone call coming in. And we're dancing.
1 second.
And we're dancing. And we're dancing. And we're dancing. Ash will rejoin us in a minute. She got a phone call. That has happened to me so many times. And the problem is that, well, it's not a problem on her end. It's more of a problem on my end, because when it happens to me, I can answer the phone call, but Spotify keeps recording, but all you get is the background music. So, yeah, in the middle of this, what I'm gonna do, because I don't know how long she's gonna be gone, I'm gonna go ahead and make us a break. Oh, wait, she's calling back. But she calling, it's doing on my phone, so I'm gonna red button her, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it this way. And we're still rolling. I was about to pause because I didn't know how long you're gonna be gone.
Did you hear my conversation?
No, I heard some really great music, and then you said, "Okay, hang on," and then then you were gone.
Yeah, sorry. It was my husband calling me to tell me that he went to get tickets to a basketball game for him and my daughter to go see for a father-daughter date tonight.
Aww.
Turns out it's tomorrow. And so he's a little bummed because, like, he's that dad that'll be covered in grease and oil from work and, like, let's go take the baby to a game. And that's what the plan was today, and it fell through, and he's gone.
Aww.
Oh, poor Gary.
Poor Gary. Poor Gary the snail.
To run back to Moody, what ended up happening was we would always leave the electricity off. We'd turn all the lights off because we were so scared of fire. It is an old-ass house, and it was original to the building.
Yeah.
And landlord specifically asked not to be using too much electricity in there just in case, because we were going to have people come look at it.
Right.
And so we were good on that. We pull up the driveway, though, and our driveway was about 2 miles long through a giant forest. And I'm talking a huge forest. In fact, one of the Dopplers for our local news station was in the front yard. The true story. I will tell you which Doppler later. But yes,
cool.
Me and my brother Chris would go out there and, look at it and stuff. But it's pretty bitchin'.
Don't touch the Doppler.
I will tell you that we were driving around the little windy, bendy road, and we looked, and we could see a light floating in the sky, and it's a big square light. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, Mom, do you see that? And she goes, what the fuck is that? And she's driving, and she's like pulling up to the front of the house, and the solarium light is on, and all the curtains in the solarium are open. And we're like, okay. Ooh. Fucking weird. And this went on with the open curtains months and months. It would happen constantly. And we couldn't explain it because we would turn off the lights. We would come home and every light in the house would be off except for that one. And when those lights were on, the closet door upstairs in the hallway, which was another room, but we used it for a closet, would be open. It would just be open. And we're like, okay, fucking weird, can't explain it. But we still let it go because nothing had been supremely freaky yet.
Right. No malevolence, just weirdness.
Yeah. Well, then the last month we were there happened.
Uh-oh.
And the last month we were there, I was getting physically touched. And I would be laying in bed, and I would feel somebody on top of me. Like, on top of me.
Oh, like an incubus?
No, but that would have been kinky. I would have been okay with that.
You'd have been down with that. I'll fucking ghosty.
It felt like something was taking the sides of my sheets on my shoulders and pushing them down on me to where I couldn't move.
Oh, and, so like sleep paralysis almost.
Kind of, but I could move. I was just held down. And, or I would be there was a shower upstairs, and I would be in the stand-up shower, and I wouldn't even be touching the door. And it's a hard door. You have to push like hell to get open because the bathroom was remodeled in the 70s. So it was one of those 70s ones, and it was kind of rusty. We hadn't remodeled it, but you had to work to get that motherfucker open. And it would just pop right open while I was showering.
Oh, nice.
Things like that. And so it started getting really weird, and then I started seeing
Ghost, he thought you were sexy.
I don't know, because I had just had a baby. It was messy. But I will tell you, I started seeing and hearing things running up and down the stairs. And I told my mom, and I was like, listen, okay, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm seeing, and she's like, somebody run up the stairs? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, okay, you're not crazy, because I also see that. All right, cool. Well, then, towards the end of that month, a friend of mine that used to live there, that my childhood friend, came by to visit. And she had to have me turn on all the lights in the hallway and the stairwell and walk up with her to the stairwell to go to the bathroom because she would not go up there alone. And I asked her, what happened to you in this house? And she starts describing all the same crazy shit and then some.
Oh, wow.
And it freaked us all out. Even my stepdad was like, holy shit. Well, then she leaves. And we're down on the last week that we're there. And me and my mom both hear, like my stepdad was a Vietnam vet and he was a little bigger and he walked a certain kind of way where you could hear when he was hobbling his ass upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We heard him walking upstairs. We knew that was Dawn. And for some reason, we heard boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, like he fell down. My mom comes rushing out of her room. The baby starts crying. I grab the baby. I look down the banister. She looks down the banister. My stepdad is dead on the floor. Dead on the floor. It's his outfit. It was a hunter jacket, you know, with like the leaves on it. A shirt, same pants, same shoes. It was him dead, face down on the floor. I grabbed the baby. I put her in. We had like a little playpen thing, you know, in my bedroom. I put her in the playpen. Top the monitor on. Ran downstairs. My mom's running downstairs. We're crying and freaking the fuck out. We're running downstairs to get to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get to the landing, and he's not there. And we look at each other because we were focusing on him as we were running down the stairs. He was there, and then we got to the last stair, and he was gone. And we looked, and right at the end of the staircase is the front door, and then to the left there's one bedroom, and to the right there's the entrance to the living room.
Yeah.
And then we looked into the living room because the bedroom light was off. Looked into the living room, and he's asleep in the same outfit, laying on the couch snoring.
Shut the fuck up.
I shit you not. We wake him up. We tell him what happened. He doesn't believe us.
Gunner! Every day. It's always something. Every
it's alright. You think that's super.
Gunny. Come here. I don't mean you, Ruger. You're not the one screaming. It's okay, buddy. Thank you. It's okay.
Thank you for playing.
Okay, you vamp for a minute. I'm putting them in the timeout room.
Oh, bye, Gunner.
Gunner.
So, let her assess the situation.
I can't even stand up. They won't let me stand up. Get down, Ruger. I'm just trying to get off the couch, man. Come on, boys.
But
go ahead and tell your story. I'm just going to put them in the timeout room for a little bit. Come on,
you're
boys.
good. Long story short, we could not explain him falling down the stairs. And the very last week we were there, I don't know what happened to my stepdad. He was home alone. But something happened to him to the point where he said, we have to move out of this house. He had seen something, or something had gone down that was too much for even him. I genuinely believe in my heart of heart that there was something very ominous in that house.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
It wasn't so much that I'll recap you. I just said there, I really believe something was ominous in that house. I don't think it was like a demon or anything. I don't know if it was a residual haunting and maybe somebody had died there. But seeing somebody that looks just like your stepdad fall down the stairs and die, you can't make that shit up.
I don't think it was a residual haunting per se, because with residual, it's just like a recording playing over and over and over. Like there's no consciousness. It's just like watching the same movie over and over and over.
Yeah.
There's no consciousness that they are in a different time or place. They're just doing their thing, chicken wing, like they always did.
And see, whatever this was, it was bad. Like, it was just scary. And and I don't think anything ever intended on hurting any of us, but I do know that, and my ex-stepdad, he's passed on. He's my heavenly stepdad. He was always very good to me. I do love him dearly.
Yeah, of course.
But he suffered from, issues from Vietnam. And I do know while he was in that house, and he was fine for years before we got into that house.
Yeah.
While he was in that house, he made an attempt on himself. And it was weird. After we moved out of that house, he was completely fine. Mm-hmm. And the attempt on himself was the very last month that we were there.
Yeah.
And I do really believe that something got to him. After we moved out, he was completely fine.
Yeah.
He was completely fine and completely normal and very much himself again. But for the longest time, I always felt that something was there causing him to feel anguish. I had overheard him in passing telling his sister over the phone that he could see the face of a young woman that was killed because of him in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And he fell in love with her in Vietnam, and he wanted to marry her. He was in love, and the people that they were fighting against found out that she was feeding and sheltering, and a lot of bad things happened to her, ultimately ending her life. And he said that to his sister that he was seeing her in the house.
Oh, wow.
And it bothered him because he couldn't tell if it was me or her walking around the house because we both had black hair. And I had a compulsion at the time to cut my hair a certain way.
Oh.
And I did kind of like a little bob, like I just wanted a bob. And I don't know why, but I did. And so it traumatized him because he was constantly seeing either her or me.
Right.
And it would freak him out. And God rest him, like he suffered in the house.
Yeah, bless his
and
heart.
when he had made the attempt on his life, he left the house.
Mm.
He didn't want to be in the house when he did it because he didn't want to be stuck there.
Yeah, no, I can completely understand that.
We found him out by the tank, and we were able to save his life. We were able to save him, and he lived another 20 years very happily.
Yeah.
Fell in love with a young Chinese woman, flew to China, got married, and they lived happily ever after until he was almost 90. He had a stroke, and then he passed happily. But there in that house, I think he was tormented.
Absolutely. It absolutely sounds like it. That's creepy, spooky, crazy. It brings to mind another story. It brings to mind an experience that I had.
Share it with me, girl.
I don't think you've ever heard this experience, so this is going to be a new one on you too. Because a lot of times, you know, when we're telling these to you guys, we've already heard each other's stories, but I don't think I've ever shared this one with Ash. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, you can tell me. But okay, so I used to have a best friend. I'll call her Katie. Okay. Katie no longer speaks to me, and I don't know the reasoning behind it or whatever, but it is what it is. For a long time, in my early years, I lived with Katie and her husband and her kids. And this happened whatever year we went to war in the Middle East. And I'm
like
old.
0506.
Yeah, I'm old. I don't remember that stuff too well, as far as times and all that crap. But right around in there, and her husband was in the National Guard, and he got called up to Real Army. They sent our local National Guard unit to Iraq. So, for the purposes of this pod, I'm going to call him Tony. Okay? So Tony gets called up. His unit goes to Iraq. It wasn't, back then, it wasn't as easy to communicate as it is now for people who are serving when they go overseas. You
literally had to write letters.
You got 10 minutes on the sat phone every other week or something like that. It was not easy to call home. This is back in the days of Yahoo Messenger. It was easier to Yahoo Messenger than anything. So anyway, just to kind of set that up as far as that goes. So you have to understand that it was their youngest child at the time, but he's now their middle child. He is autistic. Okay. So, not to tell all of their business, they had some marital issues while he was away. She went and did her own thing, right?
Right.
So, she had said, hey, I'm doing this. She called me up. I was at work. She says, I'm doing this and this tonight. Can you go pick up middle child? I'm going to call him middle child, even though he was the youngest at the time. It's just easier for me. Can you go pick up middle child from grandma's? Grandma's watching him as soon as you get off work. I said, yeah, no problem. So I get off work a couple hours later. I drive over to grandma's house. I pick up middle child. And we get in the truck, and I start going down the road, and I come to a stop sign a block and a half from grandma's house. And as I'm sitting at the stop sign, there's a truck coming up the way. So this truck comes up the way, it turns the corner, it parks right there at the house on the corner, on the right-hand side of the street. And I swear to you, with everything in my being, as I sit here on this couch right this second, Tony got out of that truck, walks around the front of the truck, walks down the sidewalk, up the steps, and into the house. And I thought, it's late, I'm tired, I'm seeing things, until middle child said, bye, Daddy. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And my initial immediate thought was, oh my God, Tony's been killed in action. I just saw his ghost. That was my immediate thought. I get home. I get middle child situated. I go to bed. Get up the next day. Tell Katie what happened. And she immediately, on the computer, on the Yahoo Messenger, trying to get a hold of Tony. Tony texts back later that day, Tony's completely fine. So how did I see him thousands of miles from where he's supposed to be, get out of a pickup truck and go into a house, unless it's a doppelganger? But the thing about it is, doppelgangers are usually harbingers of bad things.
It could have been a Wendigo, a skinwalker.
But I know that I'm not crazy, because the autistic child saw him too and said, bye, Daddy.
Yep. I believe you. Like, there's no room to not believe you. After the shit I've seen, I 120% believe your ass.
And what's so scary is when it's somebody that's gone to war, and that's immediately the first thing that I thought, oh my God, he has been killed in action, and I just saw his ghost.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the spookiest, craziest, one of the spookiest things that I've ever seen in my entire life. That house that I lived in with that family was haunted. It had a residual haunting. It was just like watching a movie on a projector. The same thing, you'd see the old lady, because that house was built in like late 1800s, early 1900s. And so she was in period dress, and she would just walk through the hallway into the bedroom. And that's all you ever saw. And the reason that I bring that up is because it never used to bother me. See, like I've told you, I've seen it all. There's not much that weirds me out anymore. Seeing Tony that night weirded me out. So a couple of nights later, this is important, I heard something in the dining room, but I wasn't really that concerned about it. But I had to pee. It woke me up, but I had to pee. So I get up, and the hallway, you come down the hallway, and the hallway opens up into the dining room, but the bathroom is before you get to the dining room. So I thought, I'm just going to look and see, maybe Katie's up, getting a snack or something. I'm just going to look and see, make sure everything's okay before I go pee. So I walk past the bathroom door, which is like maybe 2 feet more, and you're standing in the dining room. I get past the bathroom door, and Tony is standing in the dining room in his house coat, standing there at the dining room table, just looking at me, and I went, nope. And I turned around, I went right back to bed. I forgot all about peeing, did not get the pee out, saw him, said nope, turned right around, took my ass right back to bed.
Fuck yeah.
And I don't know, it's bad enough that I saw him pulling up in a truck in a random ass house, blah blah blah, but then the doppelganger is in the house, in his house coat, because he has this really ratty, like, burgundy red house coat, and he's famous for wearing it when he's home. Like, he's always going, always busy, yada yada yada. So when he's home, he's all Mr. Comfortable. And like, it was definitely his house coat. It was definitely him. I've known this man many, many years, like family, and I just was like, nope. And I went my ass back to bed.
His longing to be home?
I don't know. I mean, it could be, but why show himself to me going into a random house that none of us knew anybody that lived in that house?
Well, because you wouldn't have control over it. But think about it. Like, you're at war, your senses are heightened. If you're longing enough to be home, you know, and like they say that people that are alive can residual haunt if the foundation is strong enough, if the urge is strong enough. I mean, hell, when I'm home, the lights flicker constantly. When I leave, they're fine.
Well, okay, and I can see that, but why show himself to me? Why not show himself to Katie or the kids?
Because you're touched by the spooky.
Well, I mean,
I'm serious. That. Your mind is open to the spook.
I mean, I understand that too, but I'm just like, dude, so much. Really, I don't need this. I just wanted to pee, and now I've got to look at a doppelganger, and fuck all that. I'm going back to bed. If I pee in my sleep, I pee in my sleep. Fuck it, I'm done.
I feel like, I don't know, that one's a weird one, but I believe you. I believe you because I've seen it. But I'll tell you the rule of Appalachia. You see a skinwalker, no you didn't. You hear your name being called at night, no you didn't. Somebody knocks on your door in the middle of the night, no they didn't. Don't answer it. I'm serious, keep your wits about you. Don't talk to it. Don't acknowledge it. No you didn't. Because the moment you do, they do. And that's the scary shit. But on that note, it is 5:12 p.m. I shall be running into my shitty little job. Tomorrow's episode, I'll be talking about another haunting of mine. We're just going to get all my hauntings out.
Hey, that's fine.
Because I have so many. There's another haunting that I won't give the location, but it is the haunting on Charlton. I will say that much.
Oh, cool.
Because there's 5,000 streets named Charlton in Texas alone. So good luck finding that shit.
I'm gonna throw this in. I've decided that we should call our pick of the week or whatever. Instead, I'm gonna call it pick in the episode pie.
Nice.
So our pie today is actually a food product. I kind of mentioned it earlier in one of our earlier recordings of today, and that is the Jimmy Dean breakfast pancake on a stick.
Yes, queen.
I'm telling you, I'm here for it. It's delicious. It's probably not nutritious. I get a box of 12, and it runs about $12 or $13, I think. They're not super cheap. But it breaks down to basically like $1 a corn dog, because it's corn dog shaped, you know. So,
oh yeah.
But they're delicious, and they're not super expensive if you break it down per corn dog. I only have 3 left. I bought them yesterday.
Goddamn.
I eat 3 at a time. I ate 3 for dinner last night. I ate 3 for breakfast this morning. I ate 3 for lunch. I've got 3 left. But I'm not having those for dinner. I have the oven heating up. I'm going to throw my chicken tenders in the oven. So I'm actually going to eat protein. Real protein today. But that is my pie for the episode. Pick in episode.
We didn't do a pie for the last episode.
Well, it was so serious. But if you want to throw some of your pie in there, go ahead.
It just sounds so slutty. My pie. Ooh, you put me on the spot. Ooh, yeah, no, the ColourPop freaking powder foundation. So, Estee Lauder, I love, but it's fucking expensive.
Yes.
And my mother-in-law gave me a gift card to Ulta, which is scary, because I got lost in there yesterday and spent $100 more than I should have, and it was totally worth it.
It's okay, Gary doesn't mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's on my charge card for Ulta. Don't get a store card for Ulta if you have a makeup addiction, because then you're going to be paying that bitch off until you're 90. And that's pretty much what'll happen. But I didn't want to spend another $50 on Estee Lauder, although I love Estee Lauder Double Wear. It is my favorite. It's like powdered gold. I needed another powder for full coverage because I have vitiligo, and so I talked to the lady over there. I was like, "What's comparable?" I was like, "I don't want to spend this money. I'd like to spend half that. I don't want to use drugstore makeup. What you got?" And she's like, "ColourPop. I do it myself." Cool. This is an Estee Lauder person that's like, if you're gonna do it right. Here you go. She color matched me. I will tell you, this shit is comparable. It is comparable to it, and it gives me a flawless look, and I do love it. I've had it on since this morning with the podcast. When I was putting it on, it's been 10 hours.
And I told you, you look beautiful today. You are glowing, sis.
I love it. So that would be my pick of the episode for last episode, because last episode we couldn't do.
That's your
pick,
pie.
or the one before that.
That's your pie pick in the episode. Pie.
I like the pie. Also, I think I found our new cover for our thing.
Oh, we get new art.
Yeah, well, it's old art, but new art. It's mine though, and it's royalty free because it's mine.
Right.
But I used to do photography, and I have a really badass picture that I did in the studio way back in the day of some gravestones and some roses and such, and I think that would be perfectly suiting for our spooky little podcast, and it's royalty free, of course, because it's mine.
That is amazing. I'm so excited. So you guys look for the change in our artwork coming soon, and email us your thoughts on anything we have discussed. It's always TheSpookinessofitAll at gmail.com. When I add the outro, it always like glitches, and we're gonna have to re-record it. It always glitches over Ash's information. So she is at Chainsaw Dolly at TikTok, so you can check her out anytime. I am at Michelle Santo, MICHELLESZANTO. You got to put that zebra in there, or you will not find me. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, unless Ash has any last thoughts, I'll go ahead and shoot you guys over to the outro. We love you very much.
Last thought would be, if you are from the podcast and you find my TikTok, somewhere in the comments on one of my videos, just put the spookiness of it all. I'll make sure to run back and give you a follow.
Heck yeah. Heck, you like that? I would start to say hell yeah, and heck yeah came out, and so it was a heck yeah.
Hell yeah, bitch.
Hell yeah, bitch. I will do the same. If you hear this podcast and you go find me on TikTok, I will do the same. Put the spookiness of it all somewhere in your comment, and I will go and follow you back. For sure. We will do that for you guys. What we ask for you guys to do is give us a like, follow us on Spotify. We're trying to get to 1,000 listeners, and tell all your friends and neighbors, because we like to have fun. With all of that being said, we're going to shoot you over to the outro. We love you very much. And
wait.
Oh, what?
Before you outro, I know, I'm so sorry. Before the outro, if y'all wouldn't mind, if you got some spooky stories of your own that you want to tell, leave them in detail at the very end. Make sure you say, I grant you permission to tell this story. Give me your spooky story. Me and Michelle will pick it out. I will read that bitch. And we will discuss it.
Kind of like on Morbid where they do listener tales. Absolutely, I love it. What a great idea.
I think it would be really cool to do, right? And like, because me and you, we can banter all day long, especially if we're both reading a spooky story that we haven't read before. We don't edit our podcast, so we'll be reading it live. And if it scares the shit out of one of us, you're going to know.
Right, for sure. I mean, we'll be doing it live. You guys will get it Memorex, or as Ash says, VHS.
VHS. But on that note, here's our outro.
Shooting you to the outro. Thanks, guys. Well, guys, that's going to do it for our episode today. Thanks again for listening. We love you guys so, so much. Never be afraid to jump in the conversation. You can always email us at TheSpookinessofitAll@gmail.com. And you can always catch us on TikTok. I'm at Michelle Santo, MiChellesZanto. And she is
At Chainsaw Dolly on TikTok. It's just how it sounds.
So just so that you're aware, you can always reach us that way as well. With all of that being said, we hope that you guys stay spooky, and we love you so much. Keep listening, keep spreading the word, and just remember, she is still Ash Ortega.
And she is still Michelle Santo.
And you are still listening to The Spookiness
Of It All.